घर नहीं तोड़ा करते।
So it's only been what, a few days since Rocky Aur Rani Kii Prem Kahaani has released, and I have not been able to stop been thinking about Poonam Randhawa from the film, and that is of course played by the wonderful Kshitee Jog. So Kshitee, firstly, a huge congratulations to you on such a wonderful performance, and it's great to see an actor of your caliber finally getting dues in commercial Hindi cinema.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
I mean, look, Kshitee, I think एक एक्टर एक प्लेटफॉर्म के मोहताज कभी नहीं होते हैं. वो टैलेंट के हिसाब से अपना काम करते हैं और स्क्रिप्ट के हिसाब से काम करते हैं, right? But
Right.
for you, having worked so many years in the industry, to get an opportunity like Rocky and Rani, where you're literally, in a very huge mainstream Hindi film, what
Right.
significance does that have, if at all, to you?
Of course it does, because yes, I have been doing TV for a very long time. I have been doing theater for a very long time, Marathi, Hindi, and English. I started producing Marathi films, but it's not just about the mainstream cinema. It's about Karan Johar film. I mean, and not just produced by Dharma, it was directed by him. I think that was the main thing. That was the main reason why I just jumped onto the opportunity without even thinking twice. And obviously, a lot of more people see your work and they appreciate you, and you really feel good as an actor. And like you rightly said in the beginning, that medium really doesn't matter. It never really mattered to me whether I was doing television, but I did television for a very long time. More than anything else, I just wanted change. And then to start doing films and understanding that medium and trying to grow there was a big thing for me. And then getting an opportunity to get into Hindi films with a production house like Dharma and a director like Karan Johar, I don't know what. I mean, it wasn't even in my dream. To say that all my dreams came true, I didn't even dream like that. I thought thoda zyada ho raha hai ye. Thoda itna bhi nahi sapne dekho, but it was amazing.
Right. Well, I mean, it was amazing. But I have to say, I mean, just nitpicking just some of the contents I've seen you in. Okay, I mean, you've had such a wonderful body of work. So apologies that, I should look generally overall, but just from what I've seen,
Yeah.
if we look at Navya, the series, then we look at Ye Rishta Kya Kehlata Hai, and now Rocky Aur Rani. It's very interesting how your characters in all of these contents have really been fighting to bring change in an otherwise conservative. I don't want to use the word traditional because traditional and conservative are very different things.
Absolutely.
It's very interesting how they've always been that beacon of change, that support factor. So, do you think you've actively looked out for these roles, or do you think they've just come
Yes,
to
it's not subconscious, it's a very conscious decision.
Right. Please talk to me about that.
It is a very conscious decision. It's not subconscious at all, because you can say that I might be a weak actor, but then I need to relate to the character in some way. I mean, I understand Poonam Randhawa is a bichari. She is listening to her, not domestic abuse, I wouldn't say, but yes, a kind of domestic harassment. But if the film would have ended where she would have said, "Ha, bichari jane do," then I would have felt sad. I would have been like, "Ye kya ho gaya?" But the day Karan sir was telling me the entire graph, this was the first thing he told me, that at the end of it, she gives it back to the husband. And it is important in today's time and world, and the kind of person I want to believe I am. It is very important to play such kind of characters, to show to people that it is, इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं कि मैं अपने पति की सारी बातें सुनती हूँ and वो he'll behave badly with me and I will take it down. So Alia has a very good line in the film where she says, रीढ़ की हड्डी है, अपने आप इस्तेमाल करनी पड़ती है, किसी से ले नहीं सकते हो आप. I mean, I think that's the most favorite line in the film which Alia says. And when I heard them and when she was performing it, I had goosebumps, and I actually believed if I was Poonam Randhawa, I don't know what more can a person give it to me to, stand for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a very conscious decision to play characters where I feel that there is something for each woman to look up to.
Mm-hmm. But I think for you to capture the nuances, I mean, I would love to know what the the guidance was like on set, especially by Karan, because he's an expert at portraying complex relationships and emotions very well.
If if anything that I have done is right in the film in terms of an actor, it is all Karan Johar. Let me tell you, it is all, and I am not being modest. I am not a modest person. I'm not a humble person like that. If you say, it is all Karan Johar. He just told me what he wants, how he wants it. He explained it so well. If I couldn't get it right, we could do like 10, 12. And it wasn't just with me, it was with everybody. He just knew it. He knew what kind of performance he's looking at. And it was all him. It was all Karan Johar. I mean, he explained the character so well, the nuances so well, and if I'm doing something which is not what he is imagining, but he still likes it, then he wants me to go one step further and say that, "Acha, ab ye bhi kar lo, ab aisa bhi kar lo." I think he is, as a director, I think he's just fabulous. It is a treat as an actor to work with him, with somebody who is so sure, who's so passionate, who is so much in love with his actors. No matter who they are, as long as they are in front of the camera, I really think that he's in love with them. He wants them to do everything and wants them to be happy. I think it's all him with all our performances. He's just helped us and just held our hand and walked us through the entire film.
Right.
I have seen a lot of women who sometimes are maybe not able to say this to their husbands, but say it in a kitty party, say it to their friends. कि घर पे ऐसा हुआ, you know, what does he think? He doesn't. ये सब आता है, वो convey करने को शायद थोड़ा डरती है अपने पति से या अपनी सास से या अपने घर वालों से. But ऐसी मैंने अपनी, from my aunts to my some sisters to my friends from today's day and age who still suffer these kind of things, and especially in intimate conversations, they come out and they say what they want to say. And I think Poonam Randhawa and Karan sir and Ishita, I think she's written excellent dialogues. The dialogues were like, you didn't have to do much. You just had to say them and you could just perform it. It could just come naturally to you because they were written so powerfully and they were shot so powerfully. And I think ऐसे मैंने बहुत औरतें देखी हैं, Anuj, who really want to go to their husband and say things to them. And I am glad that I never had to do that with my husband at all. And but yeah, I know so many people who do that. So all those references from real life of women who are pressured by the family and then finally decide to, that enough is enough. I know a lot of such women.
Right. Now, in my mind, when I was watching the film, that scene where you're secretly eating cake, and Alia comes in, I don't know why, but I saw a parallel with Dil Dhadakne Do. In that scene where Shefali Shah, I'm not sure if you've seen or recollect that scene,
of course I've
where
seen
she's
it.
eating that cake, out of just anguish and frustration and sadness and all of that. It was amazing how literally even that scene when you had that whole cake eating wala scene, it was done in a very comical, almost comical way, but also you kind of understood the suppression that she was facing as well. But I think, look, when it comes to the emotion side of it, the writing was very nuanced. But you've done melodrama before because you've done like Hindi serials, which are high octane drama and like very emotional.
Yeah.
But do you think that really has opened you up and maybe positioned you in a way to be able to receive that guidance as well on Dharma film set as well? Because obviously back in the day, Karan Johar's family dramas were quite high on drama, if we look
Right.
at that. So do you think that's what really helped you to really open you up as well as an actor?
Oh, yes. And also, I think my theater background, the fact that I've been doing theater for a while, and unfortunately, for the past 2, 3 years, I haven't done any new play. But the fact that I come from theater, that is what has always been my first love and will always remain. So I think while doing that, that really prepares you for, like you said, the scene where I'm eating cake, where it actually can come across as a comical scene, but you know that there's an undercurrent of the suppression of, and if you notice, the moment Alia comes, we stop eating. क्या, because अब नहीं, अब कोई और आ गया, अब ये हमारी स्पेस में कोई और है. I don't know whether I can trust her enough or not. That is the whole point. So I think Hindi television prepares you for everything from but it does. It actually prepares you for everything, and I've been doing it for a really long time. And yes, the melodrama, the underplay sometimes, uh, in between the lines, whatever the performance requires in between the lines, I think it comes a lot from theatre. And I'm so glad I've done all that. It all helped me for one big Dharma's Rocky or Rani Kii Prem Kahaani.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely Karan sir was there to tell कि हाँ अब ये हो रहा है. You were happy, you were still scared. You can't openly clap for your son. But if at one point of time Rocky looks at you, he should know that the mother is proud. That was the brief that was given. Yes, if Jaya ma'am or Tijori Amir turns around and look, they have to feel कि हाँ अब तो ये हमारी team ने. But if at any point of time Ranveer looks at you, he should feel that हाँ my mother is there to support me. I think that brief and Jayaji and Amir's look exchange with me really helped, because they were performing so good, I could get scared in any case. I mean, the stern look that Jaya ma'am gives, you can't move. You just cannot move. You just have to get scared and be quiet.
Mm. And
so that really helped.
The way she plays Dhanlaxmi, I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
it's marvelous. But again, when you're on set with her, when you're literally, because I'm sure you get to see the off, the switch off and on Jayaji. What was that like to witness that? And was there any sort of guidance that she gave to you? Because obviously she played Nandini, right? And then Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, which was obviously kind of what Poonam was,
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah.
It's very strange. She never actually came up and said कि ऐसा करो. मुझे लगता है ऐसा होना चाहिए. She never did that. But at one point of time, if I gave a certain reaction which she really liked, she came up to me and said, "Ha, see, this is what Poonam should be. This is how it is done. Very nice." So the very nice and this is how Poonam should be. Then I realized, oh, these reactions, this is what she means. This is what she would never come up to me and say, "मैं बताती हूँ कैसे करना है." Never. She never did that to anybody. Rather, if someone who's pampered us the most on set, it was her. And she was real fun. I mean, we used to sit and chat, and it was real fun to be with her and work with her. And yes, she is a little strict, but I think it's for the betterment of the film. It's because it's for the film that she just wants to maintain a certain kind of discipline on set. But yes, she was all fun also. But they have helped a lot. I mean, including Ranveer, I must say that there have been scenes where he's come up to me and said, "मुझे लगता है ऐसा करे क्या? तो मैं ऐसा देखूंगा तो तुम मुझे ऐसा देखना फिर हम ऐसा करेंगे." It's Ranveer Singh. I mean, he doesn't need to come up to me and say anything, but you realize when you work with these people that they all are working towards making a big film for the betterment of the film. It's never mera kaam, my word, my scene, which is what a selfish actor does. The secure actors are the ones who wants the co-actor to perform equally well. It's not only then the scene will work, मैं अच्छा कर रही हूँ सामने वाला नहीं कर रहा. How the scene won't happen. And I think that is where Ranveer's greatness comes. So he'll always share if he is the one who's done something wrong or differently. He's the first person to come and say, sorry, मैं वापस करता हूँ. I mean, these are the things to learn from these people.
Yeah. And I think also we must also talk about your camaraderie with Amir Bashir as well. Because I think when you are playing a character that is obviously being suppressed, and what Poonam is going through is definitely no less of trigger warning abuse. It obviously is suppression of it's misogyny. It's all of that. It's harassment.
Yes.
So I guess for you to also maintain that safe space between you as actors, because obviously hum sabko pata hai ki aap acting kar rahe ho, but it can become very, very immersive at points. Did you also have to maintain a sort of a safe space, a constant reassurance and a constant communication with him as well to ensure that was there?
Yes, I think more than Jaya ma'am, I always maintained a kind of, though otherwise post pack up we were fun, we had a good time and we used to chat, but with Amir especially, because see, if the husband is like, when the husband takes the wife's side, the mother-in-law does. The problem lies with the husband. The husband has to stand for the wife, right? So here, when Tijori is not standing up for the wife, I always have this thinking, inse thoda bach ke raho. At times, I might be able to, convince Dhanlaxmi of a certain thing, but if my husband is not supportive enough, what is the point of all this?
Hmm.
So yes, with Amir and poor thing, and we used to, जब वो हाथ उठाने वाला भी था, and he only used to feel so bad both the times, and he kept saying, "यार Kshitee, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यार Kshitee, how am I doing it?" But yes, he's a very quiet person. Otherwise, so
Hmm.
he's very quiet. He's to himself. He'll read something. He'll play wordle. He's a busy man that way on the set. So, but he's fun. It's not that nobody was like a. But yes, I would keep like a safe distance from Amir in the beginning. But then we understood how the other person is performing. You know,
Hmm.
once you get used to it, then it becomes easier to understand कि अब ये होगा तो अब इस scene में ये करना है. Now we switch on, switch off pretty easily. It was very easy to do it with all of them on the set.
Hmm. Did you ever like have conversations maybe with maternal figures in your family as well, when you were preparing for this role? About, because I know you mentioned earlier about how you've heard conversations of kitty parties where women will talk about, rising above the suppression. But have you actually focused on maybe your mother's life as well and maybe her, the way she's lived? Because obviously very significantly different from Poonam, of course. But were
Right.
there ever any parallels that you drew from that too?
A lot actually. My mother also is a very shy, quiet person. She is not aggressive by nature at all. And it's not that she would not put forth her point. Obviously, she did, but it's a very subtle way of doing it. So I always got that from her, my aunts or my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, for instance, is actually, she's a farmer. Okay, Hemant's family, my husband's family, they have a huge farm and they're basically farmers, especially my mother-in-law.
Hmm.
And father-in-law was an ex-cop and all that. But she is a woman, which is very surprising that she's lived in village all her life, but she can put forth her point very clearly in front of my father-in-law, in front of anybody, all the elders in the family. She is the Rani of our family. You know, she'll say
Wow.
what she wants to say without really worrying.
Hmm.
Whereas my mother lived in the city all her life, but because she had too many sisters, too many brothers, she's used to listening to everybody's opinions. And okay, then probably I'll give my decision. So
Hmm.
these small things where you can pick up from your family, from your relatives, I think these are the big things. This is where you draw your inspiration from.
Hmm. And I think Shiti, where I feel like actors on Indian television, right? I feel like quite often it is very rare to see them get opportunities in mainstream films where they're not just trying to emulate a character that they've portrayed in the past. चाहे मैं आपका पूनम का character देख लूं या नव्या या ये रिश्ता का character देख लूं, they're all very different. Yes, they have that sense of voicing what an Indian woman is, but they're
Hmm.
very different shades and different sort of styles, of course. Do you
Hmm.
feel like, you've had to really fight, against stereotyping and being typecast to get opportunities that are equal and more justifiable to your caliber as an actor?
I wouldn't say I had to fight, but yes, I had to say no a lot, because especially see film opportunities. I very suddenly after Rocky Rani release, I am the next Punjabi auntie in the household. So like it's like it's a Punjabi character, but I keep telling them I'm not Punjabi, so I need time to learn and all that. But I think uh, it is a struggle. I had to say no a lot, but sometimes it is a Punjabi character. It is a Shant Bahu of the house, but it is my job as an actor to get something new in it,
Hmm.
to perform it in a way that it would not look like yahi kar rahi hai pura time.
जी.
It is my job as an actor to do that, because otherwise it makes no sense. If every character I play looks and performs and feels the same, then it is my loss as an actor. So I think it's my job to, if I'm convinced about something and it is a little similar to what I have done earlier, it is my job to perform it differently, I feel.
Hmm. And if we look at the era that we're living in, even this year, there's been so many films which have really emerged. I mean, Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, Banda, Scoop, on Netflix, even Kerala Story for that same matter. There's a lot of feminist stories that are really emerging. I feel like even Barbie, I mean, in the
Yeah.
West as well. I feel like what's happening is that it almost seems like we as a society are really introspecting on where we've gone wrong, in the past,
Right.
analyzing history and trying to deconstruct what's already been taught to us and what
Hmm.
has been considered the norm for the longest amount of time. Do
Hmm.
you feel that this is, steps before we take a giant leap in terms of cinema and the sort of topics we see? Or do you think this is just a momentary trend of topics that will perhaps fade away and that's it? What do you
No,
think?
no, I absolutely don't think it's very momentary. Also, because uh, right now we think of the films like you rightly said, these films that we are changing. This change has been going on for a while. There has been a film like Earth, Shabana Azmi and
Hmm.
Smita Patil. The films have been
Amazing.
there. Now we look at the feminist point of it. Now we understand that, oh, that is the problem. Also, I give a lot of marks to the men around, like yourself, like you don't shy away from these kind of films. You want to know what the woman in the house wants to say, or what are these women actually trying to portray, what are they actually trying to say. So
Hmm.
I think it's a long journey. And to be very honest, I don't like where people say the ये feminist वाली फिल्में हैं. ये फिल्में किरदार है.
हाँ.
ऐसा कोई है. Nobody thinks of a character which is an alien somewhere like that until unless it's that kind of a film. ऐसा कोई कैरेक्टर होता है जो हमने आजू बाजू कहीं देखा है या हम चाहते हैं कि ये ऐसे हो. So these are our dreams. This is what's happening in the society. As a society also, it is slow, it is very slow, but it is steady. The
Hmm.
steady understanding of women, the steady understanding of what they want, of their rights and their duties, and the way men look at them. I think it's a slow process, but it's steady progress.
Hmm. I think what Rocky Rani also beautifully addresses is uh it's being woke and then being pseudo woke. It's the two uh, uh sort of difference of opinions that's really, popular. The discourse is very popular a lot on social media nowadays
Mm-hmm.
because pseudo wokeism is very, very rampant as well in today's day and age. We've seen it and heard so many experiences of that. But I think, for you, Kshitee, because obviously you have been working in this industry before even social media was a thing, and you've
Yeah.
always kind of done social stuff through the lens of art. But when you have so much social commentary going on nowadays, how do you cope with that as an actor? How does that influence the way you perceive not just uh society but also the roles you play as well?
See, to begin with the woke and the pseudo woke culture, I just don't understand. I don't understand it because I might be a fool, but I have been brought up like that, that I don't understand what is this, the whole the whole LGBTQ, for example. It's a big thing. We want to know what it is, but we are unaware. We are learning.
Hmm.
We want to know. We want to know what is happening. The feminism, the bra burnings, it all began years ago. It has all come from there. And yes, social media, and because reading about it, also, I don't believe everything I read on social media. Uh,
Hmm.
and I read as less as possible because then it keeps me grounded. I want to really know what's happening. I meet people instead. I really go out. I have a group of friends with, we all have different ideologies. I read a lot. So so I think I don't really believe, and shouldn't really believe everything that is there on social media, because there are always two sides, and we just look at one and make our opinions. So I am at least not one of them. I want to go back home and research a little and actually see what's going on before really jumping to any kind of conclusion.
Right, that makes a lot of sense as well. And I think, like, again, what I really like about is way Karan Johar really plays around with matriarchs in his films. I think this is perhaps I think Kal Ho Na Ho, the Dadi in Kal Ho Na Ho was probably like quite similar to Dhanlaxmi, though I think
Hmm.
Dhanlaxmi was far more stern than the
Yeah,
Dadi in
yeah,
Kal Ho Na
yeah.
Ho.
Also,
Whereas
the Dhanlaxmi in the film, the best part is she is a working woman. That is what is the
yeah,
scene between Alia and her. That
true.
you would know better because you have built it all by yourself.
It's almost like she saw her younger self in Alia, but not as stern
Absolutely.
as her.
Absolutely. And that is what worries her, that ये सब मैंने किया है अपने पति को साइड करके, maybe she will do the same thing.
Ah,
You
true.
know? Maybe I think that is Dhanlaxmi's biggest worry.
Mm. And even your character, if we look at let's just say student of the year, um uh it's interesting because Gautami Kapoor's character in that as well, she's
Mm,
also quite suppressed by the very dominating, very misogynistic husband that was played by Ram Kapoor in that film too. It's
right.
very interesting how there was these little nuances about matriarchs as well. I think for you, because you've obviously worked in Hindi serials as well, and I think I do like the sort of stories of women we've seen in Hindi serials. I mean, regardless of what one derives from them. But how do you think that's also again impacted the way you perceive matriarchs in the portrayals of matriarchs in Hindi entertainment generally?
See, we sometimes hate them because we know somebody like them in our families, with our friends, or in society in general. And sometimes we love them because we want to be them.
Hmm.
So even from Dhanlaxmi, if you see, there are a few things that as an audience, I want to take back home. I want to be the woman who's done it all by herself. When the husband wasn't really interested in the business, she did it all by herself. That is something extremely inspiring. What is not is there are too many usul and adarsh and parivar and parampara.
Huh.
So that is something that in today's world, I think, yeah, wo thoda, but towards the end, she kind of adjusts. She takes a back seat and decides that let Alia do what she has to do. I
Hmm.
mean, I mean, these are the things that sometimes we like them because we want to be like them. And even if they're negative characters, I mean, I know so many women who have actually liked my mother-in-laws in the shows that I have played. कि देखा कैसी strict है, ऐसा ही होना चाहिए. Where or some women have come up to me and said when there's a show I was doing called Ghar Ki Lakshmi Betiyann,
Oh
and I
yes.
was this really bichari bahu jisko pati jala deta hai, and all sorts of things happened. But there was times that women came up to me and said that हमारा पति बुरा है पर इतना भी नहीं है, तो we feel glad that. So I was like, it's not a comparative analysis. बुरा है तो बुरा ही है, बस
Hmm.
आपको मारता नहीं है is not enough.
Hmm.
So what we take from such kind of characters and these kind of strong women, matriarchal characters, is how we've been brought up or what we really want from our lives. I think it comes from there mainly.
Hmm. So tell me actually, because I never asked you this, how were you approached for this role in the first place? Was it like you had to audition for it, or did Karan
I
approach you
think
directly?
no. I think Shanu ma'am had seen Mismatched, which was on Netflix,
Yes.
where I'm playing Dimple's mother,
Yes.
which
Yes.
is a
Yes.
Punjabi character. Yeah. So after that, I got a call saying, "Are you busy? Do you want to do a film?" And it's not just a mother's character; it has a graph of its own.
Hmm.
So, which was also a very, very big thing because that's the first thing I was told the moment I was asked for the film. And would you like to test? And those were COVID times. So I said, yeah. So I was at home and I tested from home. And the next day I got a call from Shanu ma'am saying that Karan sir wants to meet you. So it all actually happened in a week's time. Like today I got a call, tomorrow I presented the audition. The next day I got a call, and the day after that I went and met Karan sir, and it was all finalized.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
but I didn't believe it till the time we actually went on set because I said ऐसा थोड़ी होता है, ऐसा कुछ तो होगा फिर मुझे बोला जाएगा
Huh.
नहीं नहीं अभी आप नहीं हो. But
Yeah.
but it wasn't absolutely like that. I mean, I believed it only once I went and gave my first shot.
I mean, even the sets as well. Like, I mean, I wrote this in my review that I feel this is one film that does not just attribute Karan Johar's previous works, but also pays a homage to so many different other filmmakers, whether it's Satyajit Ray, whether it's Sanjay Bhansali, whether it's Yash Chopra as well. Majorly, actually, the sort of like sets that was there. I mean, what was the set like actually to work on? I mean, because it looked really palatial from the
It
view.
was. It was huge. And the day we went on the set and we kept looking and we said, no, we want to tour. We take a tour of the set first, especially the Randhawa house. Because अच्छा ये भी है, अच्छा इधर भी है, the TVs, the furniture, the decor, it was all huge, humongous, big, and just looking at the windows, and we were like, oh my god, who actually stays like that? So we were like, no, yeah, there are people in the world who probably stay like that. But it was huge, it was humongous, but with all that, I must say that the moment I entered the set, there was a kind of warmth on the set, which was very welcoming. I don't know what it is, but it was very, very, very welcoming. It wasn't alienating you कि अब इतना बड़ा set है आप बहुत छोटे लग रहे हो. Somewhere it had the warmth, I think, which Karan sir and his entire team have. That warmth was there on the set and in small things that were there on the set. But it was huge. It was huge for all of us. It was a real Randhawa kind of a house.
And only he can create a massive haveli of this sorts or a mansion of this sorts in Karol Bagh, Delhi.
Yes.
Only he can think of this.
Yes.
But
only he can.
I have to say, Kshitee, another thing that I noticed and I picked up on, and I would love to know again your inputs on this as well, is whenever I felt like color schemes really played a huge role here in the film too. Like quite often in the Randhawa house, it felt very blue. Like especially when it came to the intense scenes, especially in the last final few scenes of the Randhawa house too.
Yeah.
What was the color schemes like actually on sets? Was it the lighting? Was it done afterwards? I mean, what was
It was the lighting. It was the lighting. It was, and I'm sure they must have done something later. Obviously, you do a little DI, but it was all the light. We could feel it. Like when for the last scene when we went to the Chatterjee house, that house felt much more warm. The house felt much more lit up, and it was more brighter. And then the Randhawa's house, because it was huge and the lighting was such that we kept feeling कि सब अटके हैं इसमें. हम सब, you're all सब इस बड़े से घर में जो अपना है, it has that warmth, but probably the house also wants to break free and live and breathe for a moment, have a breath of fresh air. The lighting, the setup was such, there were huge things, and I think Manu sir, our DOP, the director of photography, he was mind-blowing. I mean, he was just too good. And the blues really helped. I mean, especially for the last scene and all that, the lighting, that really, really helped.
And again, the spacing as well, because this is one thing that I notice is quite often, even in the Randhawa house, you all were quite clustered. You know, like you were always clustered. But then that was also kind of contrasting with the palatial.
It's all in the mind, because in their mind they are clustered.
Exactly.
They don't know. They have a lot of space, but they can't just go. That's the point. I mean, Randhawa house was much bigger than Chatterjee house, but they could easily move around, which we could not. The Randhawas have always been aage piche, aage piche, aage piche, just constantly trying to get support from each other and doing things.
Right, for sure.
So I think that way the choreography of the scenes, that is where I think that makes Karan Johar the Karan Johar.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been some time since the film has released, but I think there's definitely been a lot of appreciation for you. But when people suddenly kind of now awaken that Kshitee Jog bhi acha kaam kar sakti hai. I mean, how does that, I mean, how do you feel about that? Because I know we, as actors, you don't work for appreciation and for praise, but still, does it also kind of make you feel like, but main yahan se thi pehle se, do you kind of feel that sometimes?
No, I don't. I really don't feel so, because I think that जैसे मैं मराठी हूँ तो मैं मराठी सीरियल्स करती थी, मैं बहुत काम करती थी मराठी में. देन आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग हिंदी टेलीविजन. तो मैं हिंदी जब करने लगी, तब जब मुझे मराठी लोग रास्ते में मिलते थे, दे केप्ट आस्किंग मी, अभी आप काम नहीं करती क्या? Have you quit working? And I kept saying I'm shooting practically every day. But I said, नहीं, मैं हिंदी शो करती हूँ. Now when I stopped doing Hindi television for a while, because I was producing my Marathi film, and they kept saying, oh, now you're back to Marathi, and अब आप हिंदी शो नहीं करती क्या? And I'm like, I understand that people, there is so much to watch, and sometimes they feel that, अच्छा अब ये नहीं करती, अब ये काम नहीं करती. With Rocky और Rani, suddenly people have started saying, हाँ अब इसीलिए ये हिंदी television नहीं करती, which is not the fact at all. I mean, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. But yes, I feel when it feels good when some people start believing कि आपका कुछ नहीं हो सकता because you're not doing a TV show, and then when you come with a bang like a Rocky or Rani, it feels good to let them know that I'm here. I'm also doing my work, and I'm very happy of where I am, and I know the kind of work that I want to do as an actor. It's that is more important for me, where my friends, my family, and my people actually know what I'm doing or what I want to do in life. So I think that is more important. तो मुझे उन बातों का कभी बुरा नहीं लगा.
That's good. But I think you're just a very nice person anyway, Kshitee. Like, I think the one thing that I gained from talking with you is that, chahe insan mein lakh burai ho, but you're someone who definitely seems to always focus on the positive side. And I think that's something which very optimistic. That's the sort of vibe I get from you. So
Thank,
I'm glad to see that and to sort of get
thank,
that, feel that warmth also. And
thank you.
also, you know what? I'm gonna ask you about your, any sort of future projects or any ambitious roles that you have to do. But I would love to see you play Ahilyabai Holkar one day. I,
Baap re.
I don't know why. I just literally I've read about her and I just think that if there's anyone who really embodies her and the qualities she had as a queen, I think it's you.
Thank you so
Have you
much.
ever have you ever thought about Ahilyabai Holkar before?
Nobody's asked me that. Of course, I have read about her. I mean, obviously, yes, but nobody's asked. But now I'm going to put forth this and this clip of this interview. I'm going to put it on with all my friends who are actors
Do
and
it.
writers and directors and tell them this for sure.
हाँ और जब ये सब फाइनलाइज होता है तो प्लीज सारे न्यूज मीडिया से यही निवेदन है कि क्रेडिट हमें ही दीजिएगा प्लीज
I will give you
इसके
the
लिए
credit first.
that would be really good. But look, so tell me, I mean, after like Rocky or Rani, I mean, big film, what's next now for you? I'm sure there must be loads of other exciting projects you have been doing, I'm sure, on the side. Even
Not a lot, but immediately after this, what I am really concentrating now is the film that I produced earlier called Jhimma, which did really well in Marathi. I'm coming up with a sequel as a producer for that. I'm also acting in that. Please, if you get a chance, watch the film. You would really like it. It is all about being a woman.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. You please, if you get a chance, please watch the film. I'll
Marathi
send it
films
to
are
you.
awesome, actually. I mean, I've watched a few in my career. And I think for me, like I loved Jogwa and I mean, of course, Sairat was there, but even Lapa
Yeah,
Chappi, some wonderful films that have
yeah,
been
yes,
created.
yes,
And I think Marathi cinema and non-Hindi films generally are really like on a horizon of doing well. So that must give
yeah.
you a lot of confidence at this point, as even as a producer, to really churn out content as well.
Yes, so that is like, yeah, that is like my biggest, that is something that I really want to do also, because when you come up with a sequel of a film, the pressure is double. As
Hmm.
an actor also, because I'm also acting in the film, as an actor also, it is double. As a producer, so definitely it is. So that is like the big thing. And I'm hoping, really, really hoping that after Rocky or Rani, some really meaty, good roles come my way. So I just hope.
Well, we're manifesting this for you. I mean, I've already
Absolutely.
manifested Dahlia
Thank
by
you.
Holkar for you. So,
Yes, please,
I'm
please
sure
do that.
ye bhi to ho hi jayega. I'm
हो
sure.
ही जाएगा,
But
हो ही
no,
जाएगा.
wonderful. But look, Kshitee, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me on filmishumi.com. It's been so wonderful to have you and to hear your insights on not just the film, but the sort of themes it revolves around and the filmmaking style of it all. So thank you so much for joining me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me. It was a real fun interview.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.